Hello, and welcome to another episode of In My Experience with yours truly, Christene Shreve-Elza. This podcast is a space where I speak from lived experience. The moments that shaped me, challenged me, and changed the way that I understand myself in the world. The awakenings, the breakdowns, the moments that cracked me open, asked me to stay present, be embodied, and be honest with myself. I share my stories not to persuade or define truth for anyone else, but to offer perspective, to explore the gray areas we don't often have language for, to slow things down and listen more closely to what's happening beneath the surface. You'll hear solo episodes where I reflect on my own initiations, spiritual gifts, and the systems that tried to define me. And conversations with guests who have walked strange, beautiful, and sometimes painful paths of their own and come back with wisdom to share with us. I invite you to take what resonates, leave the rest, and trust your own experience as valid. Thank you for being here. This is In My Experience. Welcome to In My Experience. Welcome back if you are a regular listener. I hope by now you are. And if you're not, become one by subscribing. I am your host, Christene Shreve-Elza. I guess I'm thirsty today. Today I'm sharing a conversation with my dear friend, Christena Shreve-Elza. This was recorded on February 19th, 2026. Grace and I also recently had the chance to visit Christena and her children at her home in Georgia during our first voyage, and it makes it even more special to reconnect with this conversation now. At this point, Christena had just returned from Mexico, where she spent time at a retreat with Chrys Kyng at an I Am the Medicine retreat, and then gave herself some time to rest, integrate, and focus on writing her book, Plants Like People. We begin by talking about the book and the way that an idea can live inside you like a seed for years before it's finally ready to grow into something that you can share. Our conversation opens into so much more, and there is a reason this episode is marked explicit. When I get comfortable around people, my real vernacular becomes clear, and one of the first words I pull out of my pocketbook is buck, so buckle up. We talk about divorce, emotional safety, finding your voice, motherhood, grief, arrest, incarceration, boundaries, and this strange freedom that can sometimes appear when the life that you knew completely falls apart. Christena and I both share personal experiences of being pushed into moments where we had no choice but to meet ourselves differently. We talk about being pulled so far back into darkness that when we are finally released, you move forward with a completely different level of clarity, trust, and intention. We also explore the importance of breath, mindfulness, being witnessed, and creating relationships and communities where people feel safe enough to heal, grow, and fully express themselves. And as our conversations tend to do, we eventually move into the bigger picture. Women finding their voices, taking the reins of our own lives back, learning from nature, holding awareness of what is happening in the world without allowing the darkness to consume our creative energy. This conversation is honest, emotional, spiritual, and very real as usual. It does include strong language, as I mentioned before, and discussions of miscarriage, emotional and verbal abuse, domestic abuse, divorce, arrest, incarceration, and custody issues. Also, I stand by my comments of last week's episode of my appreciation for men, and I don't always agree, though I sit and listen. I'm not always in total agreement with the guests that I have, but I may not say it, so you'll just never know. But you'll know when I say 100% absolutely that I do agree. But if I say nothing, that doesn't mean I agree. I just wanted to mention that, and I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. Let's get into it.
Well, I'm so thankful that you took the time to do this with me today, and I'm so excited to hear about your adventures in Mexico and insights that you've gained and what you're integrating into your everyday life now, focusing on your book. It's
It's
so
focusing on my
exciting to
book.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah. Mexico was amazing. I was there for 2 weeks this time and, had the retreat with Christopher and the I Am the Medicine group. And that was so amazing. And then went over to La Ventana and did nothing but sleep in and work on my book. I would wake up and I'm like, I'm not doing anything else. I'm going to make coffee. I'm going to go upstairs and sit in the hot tub. And then I'm going to come back and shower and I'm going to work on my book. And I was just like getting it. So it's so fun to like work on a project. As I've been working on this for years and years and years. And I was like, this is the year to get it done.
Yep.
This is the year. So, and it's so interesting to see like how I was writing years ago and how I'm writing now and finding the voice that's more clear and clarified and polished and refined and sounds more like me instead of just like getting ideas onto the paper or into
Hmm.
my laptop or whatever I'm writing on and being like, all right, we got to scrap some of that and polish it and remove stuff and add things and just like life,
Yeah.
like how we're always
Yeah.
pressing and changing and adding and editing. And so yeah, it was a beautiful experience. And then I get back and I'm like, oh, you know, I'm back in Georgia and all of these things that I am responsible for here, which are all lovely and beautiful, but they're still responsibilities. So as mom, yeah,
Interestingly, they are self-sustained when we're not there, though.
yes,
Magically, things go on when we're not
yeah,
there.
yeah,
So you know it's possible. We know it's possible. And
yeah.
it's
It's
so
possible to
important
go
to
for two
take,
more weeks or 3 more
yeah,
weeks
exactly, on
or
a
eight
regular
months.
basis, to dedicate that time to focus on your intended creation. And as you were
Mm-hmm.
talking, something that came to me was Christina's book is Plants Like People.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, ideas like plants, like a seed, like you can't just expect it to be finished when you plant the seed. That doesn't mean
Right.
it's done. You have to nurture that.
Yes.
You have to tend to it. You have to continuously come back and make sure that it's growing in the direction that you want it to. And I love it so much. I just love that.
Metaphorically, that's so interesting that that came up for you because that's a really good way for me to actually look at it. Like
Yeah.
the seed was planted 6 or 7 years ago. This idea just came to my head, and I was like, you know, have these notebooks of just post-it notes and writing stuff down and putting it in this folder. And then I started another folder, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And then my life fell apart, and I got divorced, and like, everything that was structured in my life was just annihilated for so many beautiful reasons. And now I'm like, all right, I'm going to pick up these pieces and I'm going to really make sure that I'm dedicating time to this idea that I've had. So being fruitful and planting that seed and then letting it sprout, take root, grow, prune, pluck, all of these other things that we have to do continuously in our lives. And so that's really like that's what my book is so much about. And it's so sweet because I feel like it's evolving more into like, I had all these metaphors and similes and all of these things that came up in regards to the book, but I'm like, oh, this is like a nurturing of the soul. Like, how do we approach our lives? How do we plant the seed? How do we nurture ourselves? What are we fertilizing? Like, it's
Yeah.
so cute. I cannot wait to get it done and to get it out into the world. I'm so excited.
I'm
So
so happy to hear that.
excited.
Yes, I know, because at our last plant medicine experience that we shared together, we were sitting around the fire and it was pretty much just me, the only like participant, and then all of you facilitators too. I felt like I, you know, it was sort of like reminded me of when I would hang out with my dad's parents, my grandparents, and my grandma sometimes would wake up at like 2 in the morning and be like, "Oh, you want some coffee?" And like we would just sit at the table, and it just felt so, I felt
Mm,
so included, and I felt
yeah.
nurtured. But it's interesting. I was thinking before we started, I don't want to get off track, but I remember saying to you, "Is your book published? What are you doing? What's going on?" Like, but that wasn't even from me. Like, that was
Yeah.
like something being like, "Good, this is what you're doing. You need to focus
Get
on
it.
that."
You can,
Yeah.
yeah. You can talk about it better if you do it.
Yeah.
Which is from Zoe on Sesame Street. And I don't know why that one line from her just stuck with me all of these years.
Yeah.
And I would always say that to my children when they were growing up. Like, you can
Yeah.
talk about it better if you do it. So if you're not doing it, you don't really have that experience of, doing it and being able to talk about it and, all of these other things. So yeah, Sesame Street was, yeah, it's just so important. Like, it's little
Yeah.
bits of,
Yeah.
information that come up. But yeah, that's on my radar to get done. So I'm working diligently on that and then planting the seeds for the next one,
Hmm.
which is The Other Side is Beautiful, which is really like, I think as women and divorced women and having children, to be able to hold that space to know when we should do these things for ourselves, like get divorced and restructure our lives, and knowing full well when you do that, it's going to be one of the scariest things that you're ever going to do in your life, but to do
Hmm.
it anyway. And now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm like, God, this is such a beautiful experience. This is so amazing to be alone. And it's so just allowing my soul to just grow and flourish and feel safe. And I didn't
Hmm.
feel safe in my marriage, which I think a lot of women experience, of not being feeling safe, not being heard,
Not
and
being supported. Yeah.
supported. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And then when frustrations build up over time, and it's not like we don't advocate for ourselves, it's not like we hold it all in. And
yeah,
I find that so interesting sometimes when people do that, and like they don't say anything, and it's like, how many times are you not going to say how unfulfilled you feel?
mm-hmm.
How many days are you going to let pass where you're just like, what the fuck is happening in my life? Like,
years, years. I mean, and I was married for 23 years,
yeah.
over 2 decades. But I think also there are some men that aren't able to hold that space, and they're not capable of giving, their partner what they need.
Hmm.
And we cling on to marriages for so many different reasons. But I'm really glad that I finally let mine go. Really glad.
Yeah. And appreciating the contract that you had, because
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of, I always compare things to like a slingshot or like a catapult, like sort of, you have to be able to pull it back to be able to propel forward and in
Yeah,
the same trajectory equation. So it's just, I don't know what, I'm sure what I just said makes sense, but I feel like
it
it
does. Well,
doesn't.
I think throughout the course of my marriage, as I was being kind of pulled back into this side of me that felt really, really dark and heavy, and kind of like you're fighting a concrete bag, like you're just trying to get out and you're trying to be heard and you're trying to like feel safe and you're trying to understand the roles that we have as parents and siblings and all of this stuff. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are you so mean to me? I remember asking him that, and I was met with dead silence. But I think as I pulled and allowed myself to be pulled back into the other side of darkness and not understanding what was going on, that
Hmm.
slingshot where, I was pulled so far that way. Now that I'm being released, like it's going, the arrow is shooting far, and it's very
Yeah.
steady and it's very calm and it's very resolute. And it's like, this is the direction that I'm going into. So that, almost thank you for being pulled so far back into the dark, because when you come into the light, it's like, the whole world opens
Exactly.
up. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And also like being in the dark for me was understanding that many of the things that hurt me in ways that are understandable from other people. If I could explain the dynamics of the situation and describe, like, for example, I had a miscarriage.
Mhm.
Miscarriages happen.
I have them.
Yeah, so they're so common. I feel like it's more than one in three
Mhm.
pregnancies end in miscarriage, and it's very common, but that doesn't mean it's easy. That doesn't mean it's normal. That doesn't mean that everyone is on the same level of capability of processing that, depending
Mhm.
on their own trauma and stresses that they have in their current life where they're not able to express themselves or, etc. I was able to express myself. I've always been able to express myself. I was
Mhm.
just gaslit when I did. So, for example, I had a miscarriage and I worked with my mom and my aunt, and I went to get this ultrasound done, the first ultrasound. And it's like 10 minutes down the road. So the plan was after to come back to the office and show them pictures. But there was nothing to show. So after the appointment ended and the ultrasound tech, they can't say for certain one way or the other because that's not like they'll get in trouble. They can't diagnose, they can't say what the situation is. Their job
Right.
is to take the image. But I knew something was wrong because I knew what that stage would look like. There would be a heartbeat. There was no heartbeat. So I knew there was like no like I already knew. I just
Right.
needed someone to confirm that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it was a very like, and it was like Friday afternoon. So I didn't have like the doctors didn't call me back. And like that was a rough weekend. But like I already knew, but I just so anyway, I had to go back to my mom and my aunt and explain to them that I didn't receive any pictures because there's probably not a viable pregnancy. But for me to put that into words and describe it within 15 minutes of learning that information, that was the first time that I started to cry. And my husband's response to me was, "We can't be sad forever." And I just thought that that was the most inappropriate.
You're like, can I fucking be sad right now? Like,
Yeah, like,
yeah. Can we
what?
stay in the present moment and just
Yeah.
let me process?
I'm not sad about, I mean, I am sad about it. Every woman is sad about
Yeah.
any level of child loss that they've had
Yeah.
forever. That's because we're mothers,
Yeah.
okay? And that's okay for you to hold space in your heart for the potential that was held in your womb because we
Yeah.
are magical beings and that is
Yes.
our, we are incredibly
Amazing.
connected.
Yeah. Gift
Um,
talent.
yeah. So I'm not sad, but fuck, like you said, can I be sad right now?
Yeah.
It was that was like alarms went off in my mind. Like, who the fuck would say that? Like, who
Yeah.
actually would be like, this is what I should say. You can't be sad forever. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Well, that's a good line to use one day whenever he
Yeah,
has not
yeah,
that you're being vindictive, but you're remembering like, hey, you said this to me. So I remember whenever I was in junior high and something was going on, and my teacher looked at me and he goes, "What's good for the goose is good for the gander." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But yeah, you could use that. Yeah, okay, if I'm not expected to feel my emotions right now forever, then you know,
yeah,
for him to be able to come, process whatever, God forbid, anything would happen in his life in the future.
yeah, yeah. But so the thing is, I would never
Yeah,
treat him, and I haven't, um, so far. Like, it's very interesting because
not
after,
yet.
well, no, I don't think I ever will because
I'm just kidding.
yeah, like I have considered this. Believe me. I was accused of strangling him. I promise you. If I
Hmm.
ever got so mad that I strangled someone, I'd be up for murder.
Yeah,
I would I wouldn't casually strangle someone, but I also would never because I'm so centered in my heart and I know that like violence is not ever the answer. Like I don't want to harm anyone, even if they wish harm on me. Like I constantly think, and I'm a extremely non-religious person, but I love Jesus and I think,
yeah,
what would Jesus do? And
yeah,
I just know better. I know that it's very important in my personal karmic path to not let anger and the trigger of that take over because I know I've been told that by many people that I've guidance, spiritual guidance for. And it's like telling me that I've been training for lifetimes to like be able to just hold it and continuously make a change to break something instead of like losing it over the like you know what I mean? It's a
Well,
long
I'm laughing about this because I don't know
yeah.
if you know the story that happened in my marriage, and what caused it to end is, it was very verbally and emotionally abusive. And at the end of the marriage, like, we were still living in the house together, and he wouldn't leave me alone. And I just lost it, and I maced him, and I went to jail. And I remember, because I'm a yoga teacher, and I've got my 200 and 300 hour yoga training, which is it's a lot. And I went to my yoga teacher, and I was like, oh my God, I was a really bad yogi. And she was like, no, you're a yogi that finally found their boundaries. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because I allowed him, I succumbed to the verbal abuse that was happening in my marriage. And
Yeah.
it was like, oh my God, how do I sit with this? Like, physically hurting somebody, even though it was temporary. I didn't kill anybody or anything like that, but just to be like, hey, you need to stop. So that is a whole other conversation about abuse in marriages, and why it happens, how it is sustained, how it's supported by some people that don't think women should speak up for abuse
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
happening in their relationships. But that is a really deep, touchy subject for a lot of women, because how do you get pushed back into the corner
Hmm.
and not respond?
Yeah. And then be punished for your response.
Mm.
That's what happened to me. The claim was that I had untreated mental illness. Three forensic psychological evaluations later, the determination in every single one of those was, what was it? Uh, Relationship distress with spouse or partner, like trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And like, because I mean, I just told them the truth of like our relationship and my life.
Yeah.
And but three separate times, and it was evaluated, and that was like the determination is because of the breakdown of the relationship. And
Right.
um how I was treated, and how my kids were treated, and all of the things. So it's like, yeah, I think it makes sense. But it's funny because it's like we're treated like criminals. I was treated
Mm-hmm.
like a criminal. I've been arrested.
I
I
was put in jail for 2 days.
Yeah, I was in jail for one night, and actually I loved it. And I'll tell you why. Briefly, that was the most peaceful meditation
Mm-hmm.
that I ever had in my life because I knew that I was completely alone. No one was coming
Safe
in,
and
and
safe.
I didn't have to go out, and I didn't have to take care of anyone else's home or children while I was excluded from my own, which was
Mm-hmm.
extremely painful for me, but important and
Yeah.
absolutely necessary for me as well. It's a very conflicting, like it's like if I was by myself during these situations for a period of time, I like would break down. Like I don't know how to function if I'm not taking care of other people. But
Yeah.
for that to be illuminated was incredibly important for myself, my soul, my life. I had to find the energy and the intention and love for myself to get up and cook and clean and like take care of the things for myself that I never paid attention to because I was always so focused on taking care of other people. But at a certain level, that becomes toxic because
Yeah.
if you don't take care of yourself, you can't possibly take care of, or you're just trying to control all of the people you're trying to take
Yeah.
care of because you
Yeah.
can't control yourself. So it was very clear and necessary. And, um, I don't have any regrets about anything in my life. It's so funny. There are
Well,
things I wish
I
I could have
remember, like,
changed a little
whenever
bit, but
I was like handcuffed and put into the police car, and it was really late at night. And I remember just sitting there, I was like, I am safe. Oh my God, I'm safe. He can't bother me right now. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's happening, but I am safe from him. And that's a really sad place to find yourself. But
Mhm.
it was also very liberating. And yeah, I think there's a lot in our society that really needs to address a lot of how women are treated in marriages. And
Mm.
that's that's a very deep, complex situation. But yeah, I know a lot of people that are very, very unhappy in their marriages right now.
Hmm.
And it's probably another reason why so many women get divorced after their children leave. For those that do choose to wait. Um, but I also know women that are not choosing to wait anymore. You know what I mean? Like really like I can't do this anymore. This
Yeah.
enough is enough. So
Yeah.
um yeah, it's the most beautiful gift I've ever given myself is to go through that really, really hard time, do the things that I didn't think that I could do, and then work so passionately these last 3.5 years or whatever since I've been divorced, like really focusing on myself. I don't know how the hell I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Literally just like going to the edge of the cliff, jumping off, using my little baby wings and trying to just like fly through, like, oh my God, what's life sending my way? And how am I going to respond? And how am I going to grow? And what clients am I going to get, so I can make a living? And just everything worked out beautifully though. And it was just
Hmm.
like trust, 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 trust. And I'm still living that way. How do I trust the beautiful things that are unfolding in my life? How do I continually wake up every day and trust, not worry? I take a lot of pride in having this insane ability to not worry about things because I think it's such a misuse of our time. I'd rather
Hmm.
spend my time creating and liberating and manifesting and sitting in sovereignty in myself, and like, how is this unraveling? Where am I going? What am I doing? Who's coming into my life? All of these beautiful things.
Absolutely. And like not draining your well of manifestation energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly like you said, like that focusing on worrying on all of the different complexities that could possibly be is just like taking your life force energy and
Mm.
making them actually creating little bursts of potential realities. So like
Yeah.
just stop and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's
What's going
fun.
on? Sit in quietness, being mindful, connecting to your breath. Like, oh my God, what is going on? And just really feeling really deeply. And, it's one of those things where I'm always like, I always tell people when I'm talking to them, if there's anything going on or I'm facilitating or I'm, whatever, I'm like, focus on your breath. What is going on right now? What is going on right now? Feel that breath coming in your body, and how does it leave? And are you restricting? Are you letting it flow naturally? Like, what your breath is going to tell you so much about yourself.
Yeah.
So, even in, whenever I was in jail and I was literally sitting there rocking back and forth because it's so soothing for humans to naturally, like when we're rocking a baby, like rocking back and forth on this incredibly, insanely hard mat. Um, this too shall pass. This is not going to last forever. Thank you
Yeah.
for keeping me safe. And even whenever I was in jail, when there were people there that seemed to be there more than they should, and as I was talking to them, this one who was really young, and she was like, "Oh my God, thank you for the story that you're telling me. I feel like you were supposed to be here to help me understand these things." And I was like, if I had to come to jail to change one person's life other than
Yeah.
my own, I'm
Yeah.
cool with that. I'm cool
Yeah.
with that. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Everyone was nice to me. They called me sweetheart and honey, and they knew that I didn't need to be there. And they complimented me on my nails. They're like, "Oh, I like," you know. It's so it's funny. And actually, like the police officer who not the one that arrested me, but he transported me. So
Mhm.
like when I got arrested, I mean, I don't even know. I guess it could have been on a it was on the PFA violation, but technically, I guess it could have been like kidnapping, but like fucking try me. Try me, okay? Because we'll have a hearing and you will have to describe why she was ready within 1 minute of me walking in that door with a bag that was packed, including snacks and a drink. And she was like, bye, and got in my car. Explain to me why.
Yeah.
Because that's a child to
Yeah.
pack with that much intention, she was actively trying to leave for a while. So, anyway, so I did violate the PFA many times. I'm not shy about saying that, and that is why I got arrested. But like I described before, when I felt like something was of concern, like my daughter was not safe, I don't give a fuck about the law. Don't
Mhm.
care.
Yeah.
Um, I maintain that to this day. That's why my
Yeah.
lawyers hate me. I don't care about that either.
Yeah.
So I think that is actually like probably the attitude that we all need to start adopting
Yeah.
when it comes to like,
Advocating for our children and their
yeah,
safety. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
my kids are older, but to see the healing that they've been able to do and to witness, not only from myself, but for them and their father, has been beautiful. And I know how fortunate we are, because I know sometimes when people get divorced, things don't necessarily go really well, for whatever reasons, but everybody is so much better. And so,
Oh yeah.
I think really, as I was saying, like, the thoughts and ideas that I have for the next book that I want to write is, when we heal and we prioritize that, and we practice non-attachment to outcomes, to people, to situations, like we
Hmm.
really pull ourselves back from that
Yeah.
and sit with mindfulness for where we're at right now, like really, like, you know how do we let go? How do we feel when we let go? Is it scary? Why is it scary? Like, we can go down these rabbit holes of healing. And so it's been beautiful to witness how incredibly happy and joyful everybody is after every
Yeah.
the darkness we went through. I mean, I
Yeah.
swear, like, I was in my bed and I was like, if I breathe, I'm going to die. It hurt so unbelievably bad at the end of my marriage. It was just like, it was awful. And I was like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die curled up in my bed, sobbing and crying, because I don't know what's going on in my life. And I feel like everything's going out of control. And I don't know what's happening. But, as the slingshot gets pulled back, now that the lightness that I'm, fluttering through right now was just such a beautiful experience. So I think, like, when we go through those dark periods, is to really let them resonate and sit with us, because
Oh yeah.
there's healing where there's darkness. There's
Yeah,
a
and
lot.
without it, we wouldn't necessarily be able to really empathically practice non-attachment and
Yeah.
the processing of letting go of outcomes and
Yeah.
being, you have no choice. What a freeing experience. Like
Yeah.
I went from, having all these responsibilities all the time and feeling like I could never go anywhere to now I have all the freedom in the world because I'm literally not even allowed to be with my kids.
Yeah.
And all this stuff is going on. Not that that was valid, not that there was really any evidence ever presented other than his word that, kept me from my kids. Like,
Right.
but nevertheless was kept from them. So it's like, well, what am I going to do? And then I traveled by train for the first time to visit Nina in Georgia. That's where I met you at the
Nice.
party at
Yeah.
Nina's house, right?
Yeah.
So this is what it's like. Without those experiences, I would not have been able to have, without that much restriction, I could have never found the freedom.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
really, yeah.
It's like
Um,
taking that boa constrictor that's like wrapped tightly around your body and is just squeezing the life out of you. And then all of a sudden it's gone. And
yeah,
you're like, oh, I can let
yeah,
the serpent come up my spine and release all that energy that's in there. And I can, like, find freedom, and I can do all of these other things. And so, yeah, really just sitting with whatever is going on in your life and finding the ways to navigate it. Like,
absolutely.
what pathway are you going to walk on? Which is one of those things that's in my book. Like, what kind of pathway are you walking on in life? It's not a plant, but pathways are in our gardens, and they're in our lives. And, like, really just finding the joy in the next step of every
Hmm.
single step that you take,
Hmm.
and knowing with every single step that you take, there's mindfulness, there's healing, there's breath, there's calmness regardless, if that's the choice you make.
Yeah.
Take an angry step, you can have a short breath, you can be up with your, ready to fight the world, or you can meet the world with kindness
Hmm.
and compassion for yourself and for others. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a beautiful, beautiful experience. And,
Yeah.
it's been wonderful.
That's the gift that we have of our free will, is the choice to decide
Mhm.
how we want to continue or perpetuate the energy that we're receiving, to alchemize it
Yeah.
and to, present onto other people how we wish other people presented to us, or
Yes.
how we would, that's just
You have to
that's
meet them where they are. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And I think that's also a lot about what is going on in the world right now, is like, how do we meet people where they are? And as we meet people where they are, how do we rise up, and how do we really alchemize everything that's going on in this world as it's being fractured and as the darkness is being exposed? Like, how do we really sit in that? And it was so interesting because of everything that's going on right now. I have a library in my house, and I've been collecting books for 35 years, since I was a teenager. And I pulled 7 books off my bookshelf today to get rid of, from Deepak Chopra.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and it's so weird. I think we're in such this interesting situation in humanity right now, where, when we have these people that come up and they're, almost praised, and they're writing books and they're teaching and talking, and then all of a sudden you find out how much darkness
Mm.
is surrounding them. And how do you take the words that they have written and hold truth in those, knowing some of the things that they've done?
Mm-hmm.
So it was so interesting, because I was like, I remember reading some of those decades ago, and I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Like, this movement that came in of spiritual teachers. And how do you really sit and reconcile with everything that's going on? Like, with the darkness, with the light, with the healing that's going on.
Potentially, I mean, what's coming to me right now is like, that's why they did that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they got the people that they got, to fracture us, to make us
Mm-hmm.
really question who you can trust, what you think. Here's the thing, the ability to change your mind is the most powerful thing.
Yes.
The remembrance of your free will, and that you can carry the light of Christ in your heart. And I don't mean that in a religious way at
Yes.
all. I mean the frequency
Yes.
that is God
Yes.
is in all of us, and it's in our hearts. We have to just come together and be like,
Yeah.
we're not going to buy products. We're not going to fund anything anymore that's this way. What if we all just stop paying our taxes? What are they going to do? If we
Yeah.
all get together and we're like, we're not fucking with this anymore. You can't
Taxation,
poison
like
our
a
food. You
representation. You know
can't
what I mean?
poison our water. You can't
Yeah.
rape our kids,
Yeah.
period. Like, what?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this earlier today, and I really believe that some of the only fit leaders in our civilization at this point would be indigenous women.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, truly, we have to really get out of all the, well, what about the funding for this and funding for that? Fuck money. Fuck, like, just imagine.
Yeah.
We have to start again. We have to start over,
Yeah.
because everything is too complex. Like, we're
Yeah.
phase shifting into this other dimension where we aren't held back by the limiting beliefs of materialism, colonialism, all of
Mm-hmm.
the pain and trauma that has created this frequency field that we exist in together. It's
And the
leveling
religious
up.
restrictions, like, when you talk about the spirit of Yeshua or Jesus or whoever you refer him to, there's so many people that just like ride his coattails. You know what I mean? Like, the religious people that are insanely wealthy. If churches have so much money, why do they not help more people?
Hmm.
If it's so consolidated and there's these massive facilities, like, And I'm talking historically, like the concentration of money, the
Well, because that was never their intention.
right. But then
Yeah.
it's like guilt, like you have to tithe, give us your money.
Yeah.
You're a non-believer, you're going straight to hell. You know what I mean? Like all of this stuff. But I think like, the crossroads in the United States right now with the rise of you know the Christian nationalism and the judgment that has, like it's
Hmm.
really, it feels like I'm like, if Jesus came down right now, he would be so disappointed in you all. He
Yeah.
would be so insanely disappointed. Where like they always say, like in times of crisis, look for the helpers. There's always going to be helpers.
Yes.
And I think some of the most generous, kind people in this world are the ones that don't really have any, they don't have a lot of financial, um,
Yeah.
uh, you know, stability in their lives, but they give from the heart.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I've always said love is free. Like love is
Hmm.
free. Like you can love your neighbor, you can love yourself. It's all free. And the
Yeah.
more love you create, the more it expands and the more you can put out there. And
Yeah.
it's a free, good feeling to show
Yeah.
love and kindness. And we're so far away from that. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
how do we pull all of that together as humans, as like, as we are all here on this physical earth together? How?
By doing it, each one of us
Yeah.
every day, by actively doing it and setting an example, it's like small triggers, like little electrical pulses that are gonna reverberate out. Like we need to see an example. I see
Hmm.
a lot of upset right now about people need to be prosecuted. What are we doing? Why are they still in power? Why aren't they in jail? That's a valid fucking question.
Yeah.
It's because the legal system is made by man and uh
The powers
there's
that be.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, come
you're
on.
like it's because it's going to be full of fuckery. That's why we
Yeah.
shouldn't expect justice when
Yeah.
it's this corrupt. We should expect
It,
a great flood, perhaps.
yes.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
we need to like reset, like at
A
this point.
crumbling of the system.
And I
Yeah.
don't mean that in a threatening way. I mean that like
Yes.
in she's like,
Yeah.
there's not going to be a way to fix this. We need to like completely rebuild, like in a
Yeah.
new way. Like it's
Yeah.
this is like beyond fucked, in my opinion. Who
Yeah.
am I? I
I
don't
mean, if
know.
you sit back, like, and you look at everything that's going on, and I'm not just saying now, but historically,
Yeah.
it's just insane. It's insane.
It has always been the control. It's
Mhm.
the positions of power, especially as they become integrated into one entity at the
Little
top.
pyramid at the top with, yeah.
Always crumbles, always crumbles.
Yes.
Whenever the motivation is money, power, like control, it's never going to work because that
Yes.
doesn't work in the frequency of Christ consciousness, because that
Yes.
is against the blueprint of how creation is and what is true.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
just, that's why we descend. So
Yeah.
the way that we ascend is by embodying what we want to see. Go be that. Go do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. You can see it from your own eyes. You don't have to watch somebody else. You go do it.
Go
I'm
within,
so I'm
go
so
within or
excited
go
for that.
without.
Yeah.
Go within or go without. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tomorrow I am teaching my first shamanic yoga class at the community at Lifetime, where I've been a member of for a really long time. And stepping up into my power
Yeah.
and using my voice, which can feel really constricted. I'm like, generational trauma of not being able to speak up, women in particular. But I have been, especially since my last visit in Mexico, and the program with Christopher and everything that we're doing. And then when we get together and we do so much healing, which is such a beautiful gift. And I always enjoy
Yeah.
the time that we spend together. And it's like, I feel more empowered now that I have gone through what I've gone through.
Hmm.
And I'm like, it's a really beautiful time, I think, for women in particular, but I also think men that are mature, that are real men, that are men, that are beautiful and loving and protective, they're out there.
Hmm.
And I have a girlfriend, and she is always like, I hate men, I hate him, I hate him, I hate him. And I'm like, you can't go through life thinking,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you can go out and say every man is an asshole. Well, that's not true, because then somebody could be like, well, all women are bitches. That's not true. So
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, how do we find that centerpiece? How do we find our voice? And how do we all the good people rise together,
Hmm.
get together? We're in this together. And so I'm super excited to just like find that power within myself to share in a community setting,
Yeah.
so that I can find my new path, my new direction, using my voice in a very kind, loving way. And we're all given these voices. And how do we step up into it? So I feel so blessed to be able to do that. And I know it's going to be very powerful. And it's really interesting when you start using your voice and your actions in a really powerful, kind, loving way. It's very emotionally stirring. And as we
Hmm.
all get together and we emotionally stir each other and become aware of one another and what we need, there's a lot of power in that.
Yes, absolutely. The activation
Not
points, the codes
powerful.
that we carry
Yes.
for each other, and the medicine that we can share with each other, and the growth that will come from that. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, when you sit in a setting and people are actively healing trauma, being held in a safe space, when you feel safe, just like circling back to, what we were talking about before, when you feel safe in a relationship, you can flourish and you can grow. When you feel safe in a community, you can flourish and you can grow. How do we how do we construct that in our daily lives? How do we really push forth that we all need to feel safe as everything is crumbling and we get to
Hmm.
rebuild the
Hmm.
architecture of humanity? How do we get to
Yeah.
rebuild that? It's a
One
beautiful
step at a
opportunity.
time,
Yeah.
every day, every time the sun comes up, it's more time for us to do
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so fucking excited to be alive right now because we get to fuck shit up in the best way. And
Yes. Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting that all of these things that are happening right now and the people that are here and they're experiencing that, and collectively, as we know a lot of the same people and how beautiful they are and how dedicated they are to healing and promoting that amongst ourselves. And it's like, as all of these old things start falling apart and this new wave of people start coming in to do the healing work, what a gift it is to be one of the healers, to bring that
yeah.
in. It's a
Yeah.
gift.
Yes, absolutely.
Gift.
Absolutely. Yes. I was talking, I think it was someone else's podcast that I was a guest on, and I was talking about our last retreat and how one of the participants in the circle was very vocal and how it affected me in a positive way because I felt like I needed to make sounds like that, but then
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, and
Like
Joshua Tree.
yes, like
Yeah.
she handled letting that out, and then I was able to like let out the tears
Yeah.
and work through the energy in myself, like to shift it to, from sadness, like anger, grief, sadness, joy, like, like
Mhm.
that's like where so it was just such a transformative experience. I thought it was so beautiful.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's when somebody has the ability to give voice to what we can't express ourselves
yep,
and they
it's,
release it, it's
yep,
just like somebody standing up and being like, I'm going to be the voice.
yep,
And if those around me don't have the ability to have that voice, there could be one person with that voice that can be vocal for them,
yeah,
whether it's releasing or standing up and saying, whatever they have to say. But yeah, I mean, I remember that experience, and I remember I was like, as a facilitator, I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on? Like, do I?
it's a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Uh,
intense. Yeah,
it was
intense.
intense. And then as it like was released, it was like everybody just started laughing and giggling. It was like,
Yeah.
popping a pimple and everything, all the gunk comes out. You're like, oh, it feels so much better now.
Yep.
That's what healing is about. Yeah, popping
Yeah.
a pimple or screaming it and letting it go, and
Yeah.
tears and the joy and being held. Like
Yeah.
when somebody holds space for you, there is nothing more beautiful in life than somebody holding space for you, or somebody being an active listener,
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
listening, literally just listening. So
Yeah.
if you have a conversation with somebody, I mean, and we do it like, as this conversation with us, like, well, sometimes we can just actively listen, or we can be like, oh yeah, I have something I want to say in response to that. But
Yeah.
somebody is just sitting there holding space for you and just listening. There's nothing more beautiful in life. And there's nothing more beautiful than having a conversation with somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's a beautiful, life is beautiful right now. Like, even though it's like, what the hell is going on? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? This is crazy. This is insane.
Yeah. I
It,
think for me, maybe because I am a little crazy and insane, just as much as I have the capacity to see, and I don't want to use the word accept because I do not fucking accept the
mhm.
darkness, but like I can see it. If you can't see it, you can't possibly fight it. So
Yeah.
like you got to be able to see it, you got to be able to sit with it, and you have to be able to fight it. You
Yeah.
have to do all three because you can't just see it and then think, oh, this is what everyone's doing. I'm going to go with it. You're wrong. You failed. So it's like you
Or
have to
it's
be
not my
able to,
responsibility because it's not affecting me, or you know
yes,
what I mean?
yes,
Like, it's
yes.
it's giving voice to those that don't have a voice,
Yeah.
and giving voice to change, transformation, alchemizing what we've got going on. Like, how do we take what is going on right now and how do we alchemize it?
Hmm.
Really transmute it. How do we step into that space as a healer? As,
Remembering that the capacity to visualize what we're the information that we're receiving, we have to conceptualize it. We have to bring it into our our minds and our realities on a daily basis to understand and see that it is a reality in our lives and on a daily basis. Then that is when we'll be able to change it. But at the same time, when we're visualizing all of these horrible things, we have to keep in mind the the opposite and most beautiful things that are
mm-hmm.
possible, and
Yeah.
shift that energy from here to here, because we
Yeah.
are we are all collectively creating this together. And
Yeah.
I feel so thankful and hopeful that we'll be able to like come together and finally be free of
Yeah.
this, because it's been like many majority of my lifetimes so
Yeah.
far
Totally.
with this fucking fake false matrix bullshit
Yeah. Hundreds of
nonsense.
years it's been going
Yeah.
on. But yeah, I think like
Ye-
I have been so profoundly moved by the Walk for Peace with the monks. And as I was watching them walk across the southern United States and the emotions that people felt,
Mhm.
the absolute tears that people were experiencing just by being in the presence of people who are mindful and kind and loving. And I think humanity is literally starved for that, because
Mhm.
the people that are usually the most kind and loving and quiet, they're not screaming from, on TV every day. They're not on there yelling about, division and diversity and like, that we're all so different, and, they're so, pointing the fingers at each other, and just really like being mindful and loving and kind and sitting with that.
Mhm.
So I was talking to Christopher the other day when we were having a chat, and I was like, I have been so moved by what they have brought into this world. And it gives me hope that love is stronger than hate,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
community is stronger than division, and kindness and love. It's like rock, paper, scissors. It's like love and kindness. They're always let them win. let them win. And I think that there's so much hope, and that it will happen. But it's like, when you're like, okay, but when's it going to happen? I want it to happen now. You know what I mean? It's like, how do we sit
Yeah.
with processing it on a daily basis, moment
I
by
feel I feel like we're also, because of the line of work we're in shamanically and
yeah,
engaging with plant medicine and meditation and things along those lines, we're especially aware of the many different dimensions and the different potentials of timelines
yeah,
where we are already there. So for
yes.
us here, we're like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like I already know it's happening. Like why can't I just like jump? Like I'm just trying to, because we
Can we
can.
jump? Can we jump timelines right now?
We can, but it's the thing about that is like we're not escaping. The intention of that is not to escape. We want really, we're here to anchor in the frequency to draw up the and eliminate the branches between to
Yeah,
more solidly create one
yeah,
timeline with everyone,
yeah, yeah,
So everyone who's ready and willing, if you're not, I don't know where you're gonna go, dust
yeah,
into
yeah,
the cosmic dust, never to be seen ever again.
yeah.
I don't know. It's just get the
Yes.
fuck out of here, wherever you go.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and your statement right now was like the branches, like what branch are you on? And
yeah,
that's some of the stuff that's literally in my book. It's like, what kind of, when we have these deep roots, going out on a limb for somebody, what are you going to stand for? What are you fucking going to stand for if you can't stand for common decency
hmm
and love and
hmm
protection?
yeah. That's what the
Especially,
trees do.
yeah.
That's what the trees do. They
And
help
they
keep each
they
other
talk
alive.
they talk to
Yeah,
each other. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like they communicate. Like, if one tree gets sick, it lets the other ones know that it's sick and they all help it. You know what I mean?
yep,
And if
yep,
it does pass away, it'll fall, it'll become nourishment for the other trees, for the saplings. So, you know, life is about death as much as death is about life. It's that
absolutely.
cyclical nature. And how do we just like find what our world is telling us? Um,
She's speaking. She's been speaking. She's
yeah,
never stopped speaking to
yeah,
us. We've just
yes,
allowed our environments to get so loud that we're not hearing her. Because, like you said, the good ones aren't on the TV screaming at you, telling you what to do.
yeah, yeah.
And spirit will never do that to you. Like,
Because it's quiet. It's so
yeah.
humbling. It's just like you sit with yourself. You
hmm
sit with yourself, breathing in, breathing out, meditation, mindfulness. Like, how do you get in there and how do you sit in there with that, being with yourself in that present moment? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's such a beautiful thing. Like being alive and like, you know, uh, having the experiences that we get to have in life. It's just insanely beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
when you think about these things that it's just this is me whenever I was like 2 years old, almost three, and it's been hanging up since my birthday, and my daughter made it for me. And when I think about this little girl and who she came into this world as, and everything that I've experienced these past, because I just turned 55, and I'm like, this is what empowerment and finding your voice and
Yeah.
growing is, so empowering and so rich. And so I'm like, be proud of who you are. Find your voice. Don't
Yeah.
worry about what society says, especially regarding women. Like, you're disposable. We're gonna go get the young ones. You know what I mean?
hmm
Like
hmm
the richness of women as they grow older, and the wisdom that we innately have for kindness and nourishment, and like it's a part of who we are.
hmm
But really, like, embracing all of that. Women can change the world, man. If we had the helm for just a little bit, man, we would just whip it right into shape. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, no more coulda, shoulda, woulda. We're gonna fucking do it. We're gonna
yeah,
send it.
yeah,
And like I said, Indigenous women as leaders. I
yes,
don't know where we would ever go wrong.
Right.
with guidance from those who are deeply intertwined with the workings of nature and spirit,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that is what creates this reality,
Yeah. And
whether
I
whether you
also,
admit it or not, you know?
yeah, and I also think like as women where we are, like I live north of Atlanta, you know, where it's also our responsibility too. You know, we can look at others and we
Hmm.
can say, oh, the women over there have it all figured out. We also have it figured out. We as
Hmm.
women have it figured out. So I think that really looking within, I always tell people, I'm like, go look at the mirror and just be like, I fucking love you. And you are brave and you are strong and you've got everything you need. And you slowly build your community
Yeah.
so that we don't have to run off into, the middle of Mexico or Guatemala or, wherever in the go to South America or whatever. Like we can literally just go within ourselves and find the peace and healing here,
Yeah.
learn from these amazing people that have the ancestors of humanity that have so many beautiful codes written within them. And
Yeah.
maybe we're just like sprinkled about the world because we can't be consolidated anymore. We need to be out there. We need to be out in the world healing. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, and it's just such a beautiful gift. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I'm excited to get started.
You're already started.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I mean. Like
Yes.
really shifted into high gear. Like we're not fucking around anymore.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
get it going.
Co-
Uh,
Collective conscious coming together saying, you know what, enough is enough. Let's take
yeah.
the reins back. Is what I was telling my girlfriend the other day when I was chatting with her. I was like, take the reins from your husband, take the reins from your kid, and you get to hold them. It's your life. We love them, but they cannot have the reins the whole time. Men of this world cannot have the reins of the earth, our home, Pachamama, Gaia, whatever you want to call her. They don't get the reins anymore. Like, let's take the reins back to people that are compassionate and loving and kind. Like, let's try something different
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
just see what happens.
Yeah.
And
What if Li
not
what
monetize.
if what if Lilith was right? That's probably why they demonized her.
Who?
Lilith.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we
That's a
could
whole
go.
other conversation,
Yeah, we
right?
could go on forever. We could go on forever. I love you so much,
I love you
Christina.
too. It
Thank
was
you so much for your
so good to
time
see you.
today.
I love
And
you.
we'll definitely have to do this again
We'll
because
do
we
it
have
again and
so
again.
much more to talk about.
Yes.
Yes, again and
So much.
again.
Again and again and again. Again.
Yay!
I love you. Have a
Love
wonderful
you.
day.
You too. Take care.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Christina, thank you so much for your time, your honesty, your heart, and everything that you shared in this conversation. I loved this episode and where it went because it really did feel like following a pathway through a garden. We started with a seed, with the idea for your book, and moved into everything that had to fall apart, be pulled out, replanted, nurtured, and allowed to grow differently in your life. One of the biggest things that I'm taking from this conversation is that the other side really can be beautiful. That does not mean we have to pretend that the darkness was beautiful while we were inside of it. It does not mean that abuse, loss, grief, or having your entire life dismantled is something that we should romanticize. It means that we can choose what we do with the energy of those experiences. We can let them completely consume us, or we can learn how to alchemize them into boundaries, compassion, discernment, creativity, wisdom, and a deeper relationship with ourselves. We also do not have to wait for someone else to create the world that we want to live in. We create it every time we actively listen, every time we hold space, when we choose kindness without abandoning ourselves, every time we speak when something needs to be said, every time we look at what is happening and decide that we are no longer willing to keep participating in something that is harmful, corrupt, or completely disconnected from love. We have voices for a reason. We have free will for a reason. And we are here to decide what we are going to stand for and what pathway we are going to walk down. Or up. Be sure to follow Christena and look out for her book. Someday soon. Plants Like People. I will include all of her information, and any additional links will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to In My Experience. I hope if this resonated, please share it with someone you think might enjoy it as well. Rate, review, subscribe, send me a message. All the things. Share it with someone who may need the reminder that they're allowed to take the reins back in their own life. You are brave. You are strong. You already have what you need, like Christena said. Until next time, take care, enjoy. And as always, here is Jeremy Silva, aka Stilo Free, with Lights and Shadows.
Smoking loud in the silence, it's all love, but no trust. Why you think I'm doing too much? Cause pressure made diamonds. Lay back, smoking loud in the silence. I roll up and go up. Why you tripping, give me no love? Nowadays you don't gotta mind me. In the end I hope you really find peace. I had to set my mind free. I had to let my soul breathe. Moon sign Pisces, heart broke psyche. Angels all around me, but demons wanna fight me. Feel like I had to fight myself. No, I had to look inside myself. With a predisposition to addiction. Through the negatives, I'm still focused on the vision. It's sorta like that first scene you see in Pulp Fiction. I see the end, but it's really only the beginning. I had to find a way to be grateful for them locked doors that you made close. When doves cry, it's so painful, but the purple rain is so graceful. Cause pressure made diamonds. Lay back, smoking loud in the silence. It's all love, but no trust. Why you think I'm doing too much? Cause pressure made diamonds. Lay back, smoking loud in the silence. I roll up and go up. Why you tripping? Give me no love. I'm fighting battles, lost between the lights and the shadows. Trying to shoot me down, I'm dodging all the ammo. Left me hanging, I escaped from the gallows. Swim through the ether, blowing on a reefer. Running like Rev when he rapped about Adidas. It's like my flow is heaven sent. My energy could shift the cards in your tarot deck. Life ain't always what it seemed. An alternate reality, I'm living in a dream. I got the Stussy on the T with the 501 jeans. Ray-Ban Lokes with the Air Max 3s. Mandela effect, got me living my best. I gotta jump timelines when I'm living in stress. And a spliff in my chest, it got me lifting and blessed. Peace, you know the rest.